Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Better Humans. And today I have the pleasure and honor of bringing on Josh Murack. Josh and I are in some circles together, and I definitely wanted to get on the line with him because our worlds overlap so much. And I genuinely, this happens a couple of times when I bring guests on, and we'll be later in the episode. And I'm like, hey, I just need you to know I'm asking from an extremely selfish standpoint. Like, what is your take on this, or why did you do this, or how did you get in this decision making process here? Because I want to learn, and hopefully you as the listener want to learn as well. And Josh is somebody that I absolutely, because there's so many similarities between the two of us, I really want to know his takes on things and stuff that we'll get into. So Josh, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, definitely. Where are you calling in from?
Sarasota, Florida, just south of Tampa. Living the
Yeah.
dream down here. So
Yeah. Are you are you the type of Floridian that is like beach life, or are you kind of just like not entirely plugged into like beach and outdoors and stuff like that?
I love the water, right? So I think if anything, water gives me the most energy out of, besides my family and my kids, being near it, on it, in it. Just absolutely love being on it. So short answer is, yeah, kind of enjoy the beach and fishing and boating and all of the things that, I can afford to do down here. So it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
I ask because I know a handful of folks from Florida. I have some friends who they're in Jacksonville, and I have other people in Orlando, and it's like you're like so close to, because like, so us growing up here in North Georgia, the beach was always at least a 6 hour drive if you gunned it a little bit, and you have to watch out for those Alabama police. But like, uh, we were like, oh, if we lived down there, we'd be at the beach all the time. And then there's people who literally live in Florida who just never go out. They go to their job and they go back home, and then they, like, I don't know, veg out, watch Netflix, Fox News, or whatever, right? So
I think it depends where you come from too, right? So like, I think I've met four people that are native Floridians. Everyone else comes from somewhere. So, I mean, I'm originally from Chicago. You get a ton of people from the East Coast here. So, a lot of people, aren't necessarily native, or they, aren't, kind of the typical Floridian that people think of when they think of Floridians. So I think that had something to do with, what people prefer to do as well if they come from the cities or that. So also Orlando's pretty landlocked, except, you got a beach pretty much an hour and a half each way, which is kind of cool as well. But yeah.
yeah. So when you say water, like water's where you draw energy from, immediately the question that pops up in my head is, does that make you introverted as a person?
That's a tough question. Um, Probably. Ultimately, I don't generally do things like this, and I'm, very private socially. Check out my Facebook. I don't think I've posted since 12 years or something, maybe even longer on Facebook. So, I'm not very socially active on, those channels and doing those things. But,
Huh.
you know, if I'm in a room, if I'm with people, if I feel comfortable around people, people wouldn't feel that from me. So, I don't know. It's a tough question.
Okay, so my understanding from that is that typically you're a pretty shy person, wouldn't be considered so much outgoing. You're not like volunteering so much information online, and you draw, like, when you go out to the water, is it like I go out to the water so that I'm spending time with my family or doing something with my kids? Or is it literally like I just go to water to be in solitude and to like get my fill up from being out
The
there?
former. I'm usually with people when I'm by the water, right? So I'm usually with
Mm,
family at the beach or with family, or friends fishing. So usually I'm with people doing that. Very rarely will I ever just go down and walk a beach and do that. But when we do go to the beach, I do find myself walking, 3 to 5 miles while I don't like to just lay in the sand. So I'll end up just walking, put the headphones on, and going wandering for a while, and then coming back, and then that's typically so. I guess I do spend
yeah.
some solitude time, but I'm usually there with family when I do it. So
Okay. I'm always really curious about this because so many people. So many people get their draw and their energy from so many different places. And I know like where I get mine, and it's so people are always astonished to learn that that I'm introverted. Like from an energy standpoint. And they're like, "What?" Well, like you'll talk to anybody and you're like not like upset to like talk to them, and like I know I'm, polite, I guess. um
I feel the same way. Yep. Yep.
but there's definitely I have a limit where it's like about 3 hours in a social setting, and I'm like, get me out, I don't want to be here.
I have the same thing. We have these, local meetups and these, community groups and these tech forums and these things that I'm in. And I'm like, I walk, I get dressed, I head down there. I think I'm going to be all, oh, I'm going to chat with everybody. And then I'm like sitting in the corner somewhere and I'm like, okay, time to go. I've been here for 15 minutes. So,
Do you
yeah, I definitely get that feeling.
you do local networking down in Sarasota?
Yeah, try to. We're part of a couple groups, and yeah, there's a big Sarasota tech kind of scene that they're trying to
Mhm.
build up down here. So they're trying to get more local tech talent and trying to bring everybody
Yeah.
together because there's a lot of people that work remotely, but they sit in their office, right? And
Right.
they don't work in a big space. So there's a lot of shared spaces down here, co-working spaces, things like that. But once a month they try to get these people together, and in the beginning there was 10 people, and now there's 250 that show up once a month. So
Holy
it's a
cow,
big group,
250?
and they've had a couple of annual kind of seminars where they brought people in and kind of haven't had some summits and things like that. So yeah, it's called Sarasota
Jeez.
Tech. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool what they're doing down here with that, and you know
That's actually wild.
and there's tons of subgroups, right? Big AI
Yeah.
subgroup. There's, all of these different groups with people working on some pretty cool stuff down here. So
Hmm. I like for the longest time I was part of like a few different networking groups. Um super super fun, especially when you're when you're launching, you're like trying to like learn and figure stuff out. But one of the things I noticed with free networking is that it usually attracts the people who are starting out, so they're like uh you know no like they have an idea really, so it's not a ton of like solidified products, not a ton of solidified like traffic or community or audience or anything like that. um so when you do progress, like hopefully like all businesses should, when you finally do progress and you start getting some traction, you sort of just realize that the level of conversation is at a certain level versus some of the paid rooms, especially like the paid rooms that like you and I belong to. They're like the conversation is just like, oh,
yeah,
it's like it's so crazy.
yeah, no, absolutely. And people are in different phases of their business. So some of
Yeah.
those early conversations are perfect for people getting, started, and they've got to feel some of the pain of that in the beginning and working with people and helping solve those problems. And then you spend long enough time doing that, you've got to, kind of graduate to the different clients solving different problems. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
th- this particular group is more peers than it is, potential business. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I am not a fan of, putting your name tag on your shirt and walking around and talking to 350 realtors. No offense to realtors, but
Bro, yeah,
typically people that fill the room.
if you didn't just hit the nail on the head, oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
And the mortgage brokers. Yeah.
Mortgage brokers, financial planners, et cetera, et
Yep.
cetera. So yeah.
Yeah.
But
Sounds like we've been a part of the same
insurance,
rooms, just like 11
they're
hours
everywhere.
apart.
It's hey, how else are you going to meet business owners and people that potentially have money if you're in those businesses? So I get it, and they've got to hustle as well. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty funny.
Well, I almost branched into talking about kind of like a little bit of what you do. Obviously, it's tech related, right? 'Cause being a part of and engaging in Sarasota tech. But actually, before I do that, I want to welcome everyone to the show. I know that we're 10 minutes into the episode, and sometimes I get to the end of the episode and I go, oh yeah, you guys should probably know what this show is all about, right? So, um, very professional host over here. But this is Better Humans. It's a show where we sit down and we talk about all the different ways that we're going out and benefiting and impacting the lives of others, whether it's small or in the micro, or whether it's in the macro. I believe that, and I would probably say that, Josh, you have a similar belief here, but I believe that entrepreneurship is one of the greatest forms of personal development. And our businesses are how we take all of that growth and we reach out and help benefit and positively impact the lives of others. Um, and so, in the process of doing so, we're not only becoming better humans ourselves, but we're reaching out and trying to better the lives of the people around us, either in the local community, nationally, internationally, in all the different ways and forms that we go out and conduct business. So that's what the show is all about. Those are some of the things that we talk about, and the subjects vary so very, very much. And so, yeah, welcome to the show, Josh, and thanks for everyone for tuning in. So, Josh, super lightly, you want to tell everyone kind of who you are, what you do?
Yeah. So I'm a 20-plus-year-old marketing kind of executive, fractional CMO, agency owner in the traditional sense. I still kind of work and activate that way.
So,
And
just for transparency, or
no,
sorry, for clarity, not in age, you're a 20 plus year old. Your
no,
agency
I'm
is
a
20 plus
seasoned
years.
veteran. Let's say that. Yes, yes. I've been in the world for a minute. Um, Working from big agencies like Razorfish and Publicis Sapient and some of the largest agencies in the world, working on some of the largest accounts in the world. So, did work with Crocs and Adidas and Home Depot and, a pile of these giant Fortune 100 companies and, navigated that world. And then when I went on my own, started to work with small businesses. So I worked with the local AC guy and the local, plumbers and, a variety of people with a totally different set of needs and working on that side. So it's kind of like taking that big agency experience and then bringing it down to a local level. So, but through that journey, the problem still, you know, remain the same. And this is, a whole other conversation. We get into like, will AI kill marketing and marketing jobs and all of that stuff, right? At the end of it. But, you know, since the dawn of time, you've got a product, you need to sell that product to somebody, and somehow you've got to tell them about that product, right? So, AI isn't always going to be able to make that connection. It's going to be able to help
Yeah.
bridge that gap better. But people always ask me, like, aren't you afraid? I'm like, no, because I sit in these rooms, I talk to these people. I mean, AI will do a lot of really cool things for them, but at the end of the day, people have to still run these systems. They have to still understand, how to communicate with people. So,
Mhm.
but so, I do the
I
traditional,
actually
yeah,
I
go ahead.
always come back to that because one of the things that I realized, except for like a sliver of a percentage of people who have gone through the process of like, let's say like developing an open claw system and assigning a limited budget virtual card to that system. Uh, it, well, yeah, actually, yeah, it's still like even humans are still the decision makers on buying products and services. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
so, so it's
You
still at
you
the end of
could
the day, it's a
set
person.
something. Absolutely, you could set something up to do something, but what is it doing? How did it get its taste? Where is it getting it from? You still need somebody
Yeah,
to actually set it all up in the beginning, right? So, yeah,
yeah,
I mean, it can create a social post for you and post that post, and that's great. But there's still so much behind that, and why it's doing it, and what's the strategy behind it, and that's my next glow up, right? So, in the Q3 here, I'll be kind of opening the doors on my Vision Labs, which is going to be the system approach to marketing. That seems to be the biggest gap that I see today is that, people have tactics, they have agencies, they have all of these things, but they can't really connect everything together. There's no strategy, there's no system in place. So, we're kind of marrying a AI system that we're developing, with the strategy and the 20 plus years of stuff in this dude's brain, to try to come up with something that helps clients grow
wow, okay,
in doing that. So,
okay. I'm gonna put a mental pin on that one because I have questions, and I know that you're literally in development, and it is also quite literally uh, jeopardizing if we go too deep into the details. But I like three questions popped up from you literally mentioning that. But I want to backtrack because I'm super curious about like people haven't really changed in the time that you started, working in marketing with some of the largest agencies in the world out there. But the way in which we conduct marketing and the way in which we buy our products and services uh, has changed pretty significantly. I got into the world about 2013, 2014. And I remember how it started to this day. Uh, Todd Dickerson, which a lot of people know, co-founded ClickFunnels, built the ClickFunnels software. We were down in his basement at his house with all of his like computers and my laptop and everything, and like sometimes we'd play video games and sometimes we'd like build some like websites and pages and stuff. And I would help him however I could back then with my very limited knowledge. Um, but then he he hopped up out of his chair and he was like, "Hey, come here for a second. Sit down and watch this. Tell me what you think about it." And he hits play, and it's this dude talking, and it's like this white screen with like so much white space in it, and then like four words, and then the guy would say the four words, and then the screen would change, and it's the next four words. And what I didn't know at the time, what I was watching was a video sales letter. And then he's like, and then it would do this and this for the business, and you can ultimately grow. Wouldn't that be
Guy's name,
cool?
guy's name is Luther. What's his last name? I know his VSLs. You just described the ultimate VSL that this guy does, and I can't remember his last name, but it might come to me here. So the way you're describing it, though,
Uh-huh.
black, just black text on a white with very few words, and he just reads through it, and
And
they're
the
super
red
compelling, and you buy everything the dude used to sell. So it
well
was
act
one of the.
so it was Russell.
Oh, it was Russell doing it? Okay.
So Russell was doing it, but he could have totally been modeling
Well,
whoever came
I
before him.
have
Because
I have to show
Russell's
you
a
some of these guys' things because
yeah,
Luther was probably doing it, before Russell, but
right. Yeah, Russell. I mean,
Russell's a
he
goat,
literally his
right?
entire ideology is like funnel
That's
hacking.
right.
It's how you reverse engineer and model what successfully works. So definitely. But it's he, and then he would do things like, um, and uh, and then I want to share you the next thing with you. Is that cool? Is that all right? And I was like, why is this guy asking me questions in the video? Stop, like, just tell me what you're saying. Because all I had known at that point was like school, where the teacher just told you what was on the PowerPoint slide, and then you read the books, and it just tells you what it is. And like this guy was like, all of my alarms were going off in my head. And then finally it gets to the end, and he was like doing a pitch, and I was like, "Is it so? It's selling me something." He's
Yes.
like, "Yeah. What do you think?" And it rocked my world because all of this was so different, and that was my original introduction into what it looks like for somebody to sell online. But then you go even before all of that in just like a big capital M marketing agency. I mean, you were probably doing stuff early 2000s then, right? Like is that essentially when you got your start?
Yeah, I mean, well, I've had an interesting journey. So after graduation, I worked for an engineering company doing marketing for an engineering company. So, and they used to build fossil and nuclear power plants in downtown Chicago. Like, so, it was really interesting slash boring work. Um,
Okay, can you really quickly tell me what they even need to market? Who's the customer? The government? Like,
Well, I mean, every single state has a plant, right? So some are
mm-hmm.
nuclear, some are fossils. So there's lots of retrofitting and work that needs to be done. So there'd be, competing firms that would try to get that work and even building new plants. So there was always, elsewhere in the world, they were engineers and they would be building these plants. So,
Okay.
hundreds of millions of dollars of work would go through this. And so it was kind of my first
All
marketing
right.
job straight out of college, which was crazy. So,
Yeah.
I did that for about a year before, this whole .com thing. And you realize, hey, you can make some money online. So, Myself, my brother, who was a computer engineer, went to school at Iowa for that. So he was more of a programmer, and I had the marketing chops. And we had another friend that was very creative, and we formed a .com that sold, well over seven figures online. With home built, SQL based. I always laughed that we created the first Facebook because we built this whole community, and you would get points in this community. It was a closed community for our customers, and we had, we figured out the whole drop shipping thing and convinced people to let us drop ship, all of this stuff. So we were doing,
Huh.
we called it alternative sporting goods. So we were doing, paintball stuff. We were doing
Yeah.
snowboards, skateboards, but here's 20 something year old kids calling the biggest distributors on the planet for those sports and be like, hey, we got this idea. If we sell something online and we send you an order, would you ship it for us? And they're like, okay, it's going to cost you $5 in order to do it. We're like, cool. So we just instantly had, thousands and thousands and thousands of products and did that. So problem is dumb kids don't know anything about margin, and bulk buying and all of the things that were happening. So, we were selling a lot, we just weren't making anything. So,
Right.
that was the challenge. We ended up selling to somebody that was doing something just in paintball, brought all the other stuff in, but that's where we really got a chance to, at that organization. I think I managed over 100 people at that organization. So design, pick, pack operations and warehousing and the whole ops side of the business, ran the call center, got to run
Whoa.
the design team. So yeah, I don't know, I was 25, 26 years old running a, $15 million a year company. The owner would spend most of his time in Oregon where he lived, and we would be shipping out the stuff. I was managing and doing, multi-million dollar UPS and FedEx contracts, and got to do a lot of stuff, just silly things like boxes and peanuts and automated taping machines, and all the stuff that I got to learn about how a business runs, from the front to the back, was pretty cool. So so I went from like the engineering and the marketing world to our own .com and trying to sell that stuff online to and that was a big thing. And then I went into the corporate world. I started working at Office Max and at the corporate Office Max, and then which eventually got me down here, and then all the agency stuff. So kind of a unique journey. Had I've done a lot of things. I've seen a lot of things. I've figured out every possible way that people can steal from you. So that's always been interesting to see that, hiding stuff in toilets and all sorts of crazy stuff. So, but yeah, it's been an interesting journey. It's got me to where I'm at now, but,
Hmm.
yeah, it's been pretty fun. Sorry, that's a bit of a ramble there,
So
but,
no. All 100% in alignment with the question that I was asking. But like, give, when when did you exit corporate again, and why?
private equity times 100,000 times. I have been, after the fourth time that I've been laid off of a position was the last time. So that was like 4 years ago, full time now. So I
Okay,
was
so
doing
private equity comes in, M&A, like your position's just been eliminated because of, I don't know.
cuts half the company. So
Yeah.
2,000, close to 2,000 employees down to 900. Just the entire marketing department. Just they're like, yeah, we don't need marketing anymore. So literally gutted a 15-person marketing team. And that was the fourth time. So, there's been just multiple times in the journey where, redundant roles and all of this stuff. And, um, you know, working at an agency, a little bit different, but if you weren't billable when they were doing their cuts and happened to be on a project, you're just a line item and a salary number. And they're like, so you're constantly worried as you're on a job to get on the next job so that this didn't happen. And it was just a
Yeah.
brutal existence to have to do that. So I told my wife, I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't spend my entire life looking over my shoulder, just waiting for this boulder to come crush. And I ended up taking the majority of my marketing team from the last company and gave them all jobs. And all of them, every single one of them is still with me now. So that's, 4 years.
Wow.
This is year 4 now for that. And I was doing side hustle stuff. So the agency's technically been around for over 10 years now. I think
Hmm.
2011 or something, I think is the founding date on it. So I've always had side hustle, which was my, you know, money for my barbecue stuff and shoes and all the other stuff that I'm into. But then it became like, hey, you need to start paying the mortgage and kids' college and all of this. So, and I don't miss a day that I was in that world. So good experience. But so I've got private equity. I think it's great for the owners. But
Yeah.
they all look back and go, "Oh, these guys just will destroy this company." And I've met a lot of them, and they're like, it's pretty rough when you start seeing what happens to the people after you get your, you get your millions and you get to retire, and it's great for them. But there's a lot of people in the waste, right? In the wake of that. So yeah,
Yeah. That's kind of where my head was at. Like, it's really, really great if you are at the table. Because I think about like someone in we'll say like a C-suite position. It's like, yeah, we'll say like, we don't need marketing anymore, and there's redundancy. We have an operator, we have a marketer, like we have all this stuff. But because you're at the table writing the deal, you probably cut in your exit, right, as a part of the deal versus someone who doesn't have that negotiating power. We'll say just like directors, VPs, middle management, etc. Like, you're just on the chopping block.
yeah, and it's just
Sucks.
in order to be profitable, we need to get these numbers. And private equity does what private equity does, right? They come in, they try to turn a company around or turn a profit or do what they do, and then they sell it a couple of years later, right? And that's just
Hmm.
it's
You're
a
three to
rinse and
five.
repeat. So 3 to 5 years, that's literally
Yeah.
it. So that's the game, and it happens everywhere unless they're stacking for another reason. But yeah, that's not a lot of fun to be on the backside of that multiple times. So it's definitely,
Dang.
you know, I definitely have wounds and scars that I'm not sure will ever heal, honestly, from that. So
Yeah.
it's true.
I I worked 11 years with ClickFunnels with Russell and Todd, and I also, for the majority of it, like have also had the side hustle, and kind of like very similar to you, it's gotten me, there's like additional like side income, and deals would just land in my lap by proximity. So I never needed to like build my brand. I never needed to like market or network or anything like that. Literally, it was like someone would come walking along and be like, Jimmy, I I get it. I know ClickFunnels. I know I need a funnel. I'm totally bought into the idea and vision. I just literally do not have time to build it. Will you build it for me? And I was like, sure. Yes, I will. And I never charged as much as I needed to. I never pressed for continuity. How do we work together ongoing? I just literally would just like on a project basis, like $1,000 to $3,000 per gig or something like that, right? And
Yep.
I that was it. And like, yeah, as like a early 20s
You didn't need
kid,
it to
like,
be anything else, right? I mean, that's what you needed to be at the
nah,
time, and like and you probably were ecstatic to get a $1,500 check, right? You're like, oh my god,
yeah,
we got $1,500 extra.
dude.
Now we can go
Oh
do
my
this
God.
stuff. So, I mean, you'll never charge enough. You'll never do this, but it's what you needed at the time, I think, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's and you were beyond happy when that check came in,
You
and you're
you actually just reminded me of the very first funnel building deal that I ever landed, and it is hands down to this day the worst deal that anyone could have ever could have ever made. Um, I did a whole pitch deck. There's this guy who was subcontracting out for some like online fitness programs. I think Universal Studios was a part of it or something like that. And so I met him at Traffic and Conversion Summit 2015, And the guy asked me, literally, that's the exact same conversation. Like, I don't have time to do the funnels. I need someone to come in and do the funnels. I got this operator who can like help manage the project, but like I just need someone to come in and do it. And I was like, okay, sure, I'll do it. Not really knowing 100% of exactly what I was doing at the time. I just said yes. And so he comes in and he's like, all right, I need 5 opt-in pages for these 5 different fitness programs to get people signed up so that they come in and like buy the whole like home cassette videos and all DVDs and whatever else. So I build sorry, before I even get into the pitch, I literally was like, I can do 3 funnels for you for this much money. I think like $500. I can do 5 funnels for you for like $800. Or I can build unlimited funnels for you for
Oh no.
$1,800. Did you notice what I didn't assign to the end of any of these price points?
Any
Recurring
minimum?
revenue.
Yes, they're just one time.
So I told this dude that I would build him
Are you still
unlimited
building a
sales
funnel
funnels.
to this day?
No, no.
He just calls, hey, Jimmy, remember that deal that you signed? I still need another funnel, brother.
You know what's funny? I think just out of pure honor, I'd probably build another one.
I
But
know it'd be like,
yeah,
I will. Yes, I will.
yeah.
It was the worst.
Um,
It was the worst contract ever. Best for you, but yeah, I have
dude,
to honor it.
but what was cool though was being like 19 and having someone just cut you $1,800 through PayPal. I was like,
Might as
this
well
is
have been a
sick.
million bucks.
This is yeah. Literally, I was like, this is the most incredible thing in the world. And then month 2, I was like, all right, this is cool. Like we're still good. We're still in our agreement. It's fine. Month 3, I was like,
Wait a minute.
oh no, oh no. So we went on for about 5 months, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I'm so sorry. Like I'm out. I apologize, but I can't help you guys anymore. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, you learn a lot, right? You learn a lot through mistakes. I mean, I think that's a
mhm,
huge, every contract that's ever been written is because somebody made a mistake somewhere. So
right.
I, I still learn. I still get burned. I still have these conversations with people where they're just like, whether it's well, you're hosting the site and you got to move the site, and then, well, no, I don't. And do I have to pay to have your site moved? And there's all this like nuance and
Mhm.
garbage that happens when these things occur. So that's why I've got a 47-page contract. Not really, but it's more than it needs to be, just to
Yeah.
do that. So, but yeah.
But yeah, in like almost every single case and situation that I've seen, a contract sometimes like literally just saves relationships. And a lot of people they go like, well, like I know the guy, I don't need a contract. It was like you you know the guy now when he's happy. You don't
I,
know the guy like 6 months from now when he's pissed off and ready to like bowl in a china shop,
I
So
have
like,
I have contracts with friends that I vacation with, right? So, which
yeah,
I would never advise ever working for friends or family. I just do it to help, but if I could go back in time, I wouldn't necessarily do it. Not that I don't love helping them or working with them, but like, those relationships go bad, or you do something to goof up someone else's business. Like that's tough when, and you get to
yeah,
my age, your friend group is pretty limited, right? So it's, then it extends into other people and they're, so yeah, I'd rather than just refer me versus, but I think literally every one of my friends I do some work in some capacity for. So,
yeah.
I'm like, hindsight, don't think I would do that again, but, kind of
Most of
I
my
like to
friends,
help
I'm
people.
uh,
That's
I'm
my
priced
thing.
out of. So
Oh,
yeah.
no. They should be priced out. I do it for nothing. Literally,
Oh, okay, okay,
I
okay.
built an entire AI application for a friend of mine. It is badass. Whole CRM, whole AI application. And we exchange. He buys me some wings on Thursday night when we do our wing nights. So that's the payment on that. So my AI engineer is like, I hope you're charging $40,000 for this
Hey, let me
application.
go back
I'm
and
like,
check.
I get
Let me go back
12
and check
garlic
the deal
parm
maker
wings
training.
on Thursday. Does that count? What's the ROI on that? So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
I'm
it's I don't know, it is what
I
it is.
missed the part of the deal maker training where we were supposed to exchange wings.
Yes, you missed it. So, well,
That's
we get into
amazing
some
though.
good topics at Wing Night. So that's been a tradition for like 3 to 5 years, 4 or 5 years now at this point. We go every Thursday night, and we go eat wings. And people are like, "Are you going this Thursday?" I'm like, "Is it Thursday?" And people always ask, and they're like, "Can we come?" I'm like, "Absolutely, every Thursday, come sit down." And we just have a bunch of dads. Started with like our soccer dads when our kids were playing, and now it's a friend group, and yeah, we have a good time. So it's fun.
Nice.
It's kind of
That
my
actually, so I was curious. We were talking about like side hustle stuff and like extra income on the side, and you were like, gives me all the like the stuff that I'm into, like barbecue and shoot. Like, what what are all the things that you're into? Because when you said wing night, I was like, well, he mentioned barbecue, so maybe he's like big into like grilling and rubs and spices. But like,
yeah. So
what are you into? You know?
cooking. I do really, really like to cook. I do, probably 90% of the cooking in the house. So I
Really?
enjoy that. That's something that, and again, cooking for family, cooking for friends, right? Maybe not necessarily cooking for myself, but I'll spend 3 or 4 hours before going to a party we just had some friends over this weekend, and she was like, "Why are you cutting these pieces so perfectly and like spending?" She's like, "I would have just chopped it all up." And I'm like, I just love doing it. And probably some OCD built into there a little bit, but
Yeah, yeah.
I love doing things, the right way and the way you should do it. And I said I probably have some Amberell RIP tendencies from watching like worst chefs in America and talking about even knife cuts all the time. But yeah, so I love barbecue. I mean, I've got my whole wall is my gas grill, my Blackstone, my Traeger. So I interchange between all of those. In between doing that. So really
And when did you say you were grilling out next again? And Sarasota, what part of Sarasota are you in?
just let me know. I will cook for
Just
anybody that wants
for the
to do
curious
that. So
listeners, you know.
yes, but pretty much 5 out of the 7 days a week I'll be cooking something. So
Dang.
yeah, it's good. But yeah, I really enjoy. The family loves the smash burgers. I do a
Oh
pretty
my
killer
God.
smash burger. So
Oh my God.
but
Smash burgers.
smash burgers are great. Yeah, but yeah, enjoy that. Fishing is kind of in the last since being down in Florida, offshore the thing about the Gulf is it's real shallow. So in order to get
Yeah.
just to 200 feet of water, which isn't really that deep, it's deep for over here. It's 70 miles offshore, 75 miles offshore. So you're talking about hours just to get to drop for fish that are
Yeah.
big enough to catch. So you go, uh, East Coast, and you're a mile offshore and you're into 2,000 plus feet of water. So
Yeah,
uh,
I'm trying to remember like the geography lesson from all the way back when, but there's like a shelf out there, right? Where it's like it finally just cuts off.
it takes forever, and that's the other reason why hurricanes are so bad in the Gulf is because it's shallow. The water gets really warm, like the amount of energy that it
Hmm.
builds upon, and when it gets into that, it's a pretty deadly combo. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's so I love fishing, and then obviously love cooking the fish. So, doing that whole thing, um, anything with the kids. We've been, you know, soccer. Both my son and daughter were into travel soccer, so every single Saturday, every single Sunday, we were out at somewhere. We were in Miami, we were in Tampa, we were an hour and a half to 4 hours away with these same families and these same people that you build a relationship with, and hanging out with your kids, the entire time. And I wouldn't trade it. I enjoy the weekends now that we have them and they're not doing it anymore. But that's something we did. And the theme parks. I mean, we've got access to Disney. you know, it's being recorded, but I'm a Disney adult. One of those weirdos you'll see that actually likes Disney as a 50-plus-year-old dude. So
It's okay, man. I can chop it out in post, you
yeah,
know.
please do. Please, yeah, please remove that and be like, I hate Disney. But
No.
no, absolutely love going to Disney. Absolutely, we do it every year with the kids. The kids still love it. My son's 18, my daughter's 20, and they would go every weekend if we would go. So we've kind of bonded over that as a family and doing that and spending time. So, but yeah, those are kind of my big things. Starting to play pickleball. You
Dude,
can
oh my
you can
I
speak firsthand about the thumping you took from Josh and I. So, but
I'm still so mad to this day about you don't understand how competitive I am.
oh,
And you know what? You're like, Josh, you're good. But the problem is that Josh 40 is not good at pickleball. And because he was on your team, he just sitting there with his pal like,
oh
I
my
just
God,
partnered up with the best guy and therefore I win. Like,
yeah,
shut up.
not planned, but really funny. And every time he turned his back, he's like, "I have to beat Jimmy. You have to beat Jimmy." And um, I felt really bad. Who were you partnered with? But
I had a handful of different people I played
I
with
just
that
and
night.
every time I felt so bad because we'd score on him. I'd be like, "I'm so sorry, but Josh really wants to win," and he's like, "Yes, keep doing that." Like that was really funny. And then
You have no
he let you have
idea.
it forever. He probably still does, but I thought that was really funny.
No,
That
it's literally it still haunts me
yes,
to this
that's
day.
well.
I don't like losing, and boy, is it just still eating at my conscience or my
I, I'm the same way. I mean, I grew up and it was funny. I think this year is the first year, so I'm an avid Chicago Bears fan, which has been horrible for me. So I was, 10 years old in 85 or 11, right? So seeing the Bears since then be pretty absolutely garbage and then having a really, solid season last year with some insane comebacks and all of that. But people are like, you like the Bears? I'm like, I do like the Bears. And then they see me, during these playoff games where I'm just screaming at the TV and pretty much they're like, oh, you really like the Bears. And I'm like, ooh, I guess I'm pretty intense, when it comes to this. So, but yeah, so
yeah,
big, big,
but
big
Josh,
fan of Chicago sports.
the difference is that those are people miles and miles away on a TV screen, and like you can't control anything about it.
Right.
I was fully in control of every swing, every time I tried to run, every time I tried to be fancy with you know what I'm saying? Like, uh, I like I like watching sports literally because it's like a fun way for me to hang out with my friends and just
Yep.
like you, like eat wings, eat good food, hang out with the guys and everything. Um, but I don't get so hung up on like how one team performs or anything like that. Um, but I definitely like when it's like playing chess or
Something
or
anything
playing
you can
pickleball.
control. Yeah, when you can
Yeah,
control. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And that's where I'm like, I must be better. I must win. I don't know. It's like a trophy thing, kind of trophy
Yeah, I,
complex I got going on.
I, my brother is, basically 2 years younger, so we just compete at all things all the time. So I think we're both pretty good at everything, right? So we've got the hand-eye coordination. So okay at pool, okay at darts, okay at all this stuff, basketball, you kind of name it. We can jump in and be somewhat competitive, not
Yeah,
dominating anything, but yeah, just kind of funny. So
it's okay because all you had to be was better than your brother. You never had to like,
just
you know what I'm
always
saying?
always a little bit better than my brother, and that's the goal. So that's and he'll say the same thing. He's always going to be trying to one up me. So it's
Yeah,
it's brother goals for sure.
yeah. I just I can't emphasize enough that like if I could go back, I would change everything. I would demand I would demand Josh get on a different court. Like Josh, come fight, come play me one on one. You know. Um,
1v1 me, bro. Yeah, no, it's oh, it would be yeah. He knows too. He wouldn't ever do that. So,
yeah.
but that would be really funny. Just a lot
So
of
I
straight
told,
serves. Yeah.
yeah, I told myself earlier that I was going to put a mental pin inside of the AI stuff that you're doing. So now that we
Vision.
have like, now
Yeah.
that we have a really good, are you calling it Vision Works? Is that what you said?
So the company name is Vision Labs, and
Vision Labs.
yeah, it's Vision AI is going to be the platform that
Okay.
we're gonna deploy. Yeah.
That's actually really interesting. And instead of asking you a bunch of stuff right now, I'll start by confessing some things, or actually just confessing sounds wrong. Sharing. I'll just share some stuff with you. But I have like some questions kind of stemming from what we've talked about here. But literally yesterday, since you don't get on Facebook or post or
I don't
um,
post. I am on Facebook every single day because of the groups. I love the groups.
oh,
I'm addicted
okay.
to groups, and that's where I get
You're
all my. I'm a yeah, I don't know what you want to call it, closet Facebook user. But
I usually call it you're a lurker, like you're
lurker.
there, you're present.
I am very present, and I am in 200 groups and everything. So yeah,
Huh. Okay.
it's a problem. That's my Instagram feed. I was just telling somebody yesterday. I can't I can't get past five, um, five posts on Instagram and feel inadequate about AI because my entire feed now is AI. And
Dude,
I'm like,
isn't it just the
I
worst?
go one, I'm like, they're doing awesome stuff. They're doing awesome stuff. Oh my God, I'm doing nothing. I don't know AI at all. And I have to close the
Yeah.
app. And
Yeah.
that's literally my entire journey every single time I'm on Instagram now. So I'm like,
It's
I gotta switch the algorithm, go back to cooking and recipes and stuff like I used to have. Where I used to enjoy using Instagram. Now I just feel inadequate all the time. But
Do you know
it's
what I always ask myself when it comes to like there's people who are building really, really slick stuff out there. And then I'm like, who's buying it?
that's the problem. There,
Show me the real application, not the hypothetical of how it could work. Because I like, sorry, not could, like, not hypothetical in the sense of like an idea about how AI could work, but they're like, and then this ID goes past in here, and then you have it's able to read all of this stuff. It's like, okay, cool. It's able to show me where a business is utilizing this tool in order to scale revenue, like that.
that's again, we're gonna go back to the connective, kind of piece that these companies just have. You got engineers, you got people, smartest people in the world. They're not solving a problem for anyone. They're creating something that they think solves a problem, but have they actually had the conversation with the business owner? Do they actually understand where things are breaking and what they need? My
Mm-hmm.
friend with my friend needed this application, and I'm like, I don't know. I think we could build this in a week. And boom, he's got a full CRM and a full booking portal and everything that he needed for his business. It solved a real problem that somebody really had. And I think that's a huge difference right now. You see all this really cool stuff and demos and all of this, but they're
Yeah.
actually solving a problem that people have or that somebody actually asked them to build. And that's a big, that I think there's still going to be that gap. And those guys probably will never talk to, any client. And that's why those guys are always trying to sell those things and, but it
Yeah, like
still
my
makes me feel
37
inadequate
page
that I don't
like
know.
Notion doc or something like pay $37 for my 37 AI like plugins and resources that may help me build this Instagram post that's in front of you right now. And it's like, wait, hang, like it is so like we talk about tactics, strategies, and principles, and everything right now that passes across my Instagram for the most part is all at like such a tactical level. And I'm
Absolutely.
like, no, I don't want to be in the tactics. I want to be in the
No,
principles.
tactics are just the outputs, but yeah, you need to be in the principles. You need to get in the strategy. That's where the moats are going to be,
Yeah.
created in all of these businesses. And that's, I, I go back to the principles and the things that I'm trying to do, right? Just trying to solve a universal problem that I mean, I'm going to focus, new businesses can be focused way more on B2B. I call it like ugly B2B businesses, right? These are things that nobody ever thinks twice about, but they still need marketing. They still need help. They
Hmm.
still need strategy. And, I think this solution that I'm building kind of really helps them, accelerate
Yeah.
that without having to deploy a whole marketing team and do all this. They just pretty much leverage the system, leverage some smart people on the other side to help them do it, and just try to scale that thing. So
That's literally a call that I'm taking tomorrow. Really, really slick platform that they have. It's a SaaS that um has like AI components to it. But like they built it, and I'm pretty sure that there's like a pretty solid like base to it. Then they're like, we need to market it. I'm like, you
oh,
do. You need to market this, otherwise you will die. So
yeah,
yeah. Um,
you get some of that early funding. That's what they spend money on, right? So acquiring customers into these
mhm.
platforms. So they build these platforms. People give them millions of dollars, and then they're like, go acquire customers. So you can see if it's like, oh my God, how is this, a thing still out in the world that you're building this stuff and getting this money still. But people love AI. They're throwing millions and millions of dollars at this stuff. And there's piles of guys that just need help, marketing it and telling the right story, and
Yep.
just the marketing strategy behind all this stuff. So I like
Yeah,
that world.
definitely.
I like that world too, especially with good platforms. But you know, I do like stuff that's proven now in the world. I've worked with enough companies where you're trying to like force an audience or build an audience for a company that, doesn't have anything, right? They're unknown into the world. And you're like, oh, they're like, well, I should be able to put a Facebook ad up and people should buy it. And they're like, they don't know you. They don't know your product. And you've got to convince them, A, that you're a good company, and B, you've got a good product. And that's a lot of heavy lifting. People spend millions of dollars, a month just doing that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
kind of
literally.
kind of over that. But yeah.
In the subject of Vision Labs, and I have some conjecture based off of what you've described so far. But I literally made a Facebook post yesterday, April 28th, for those of you who are curious. Um, my judgment and decision making is an asset. My thinking is a liability. What is your take on that?
I guess it depends on context and what you're trying to do. It makes a lot of sense, right? It just depends on how you're applying that. So, um, it's been an interesting journey for me because the entire platform's built on the way I pretty much do things. I think, I act, all of that. So this thing's either going to work or not work based on that, right? So it's a little scary, to try to sort through that, but
Well,
um,
I mean, you don't have to scope the statement to your platform.
yeah, no,
If What do you think about it in general?
in general, if I'm not looking at it from that perspective, I think it's a great statement. I think it makes a lot of sense.
What do you think? Like, okay, so in actuality, it's even before AI,
Yeah,
I would actually call it like a business statement. In
yeah.
business, if I've postured myself correctly with team and systems and process, my judgment and decision making is an asset. My thinking is a liability.
I,
Would Elon agree with this? I don't know. I feel like he thinks a lot.
he does, but I think when he activates things, right, he pushes things into that. So liability is a tough word, right? Liability is like it's always wrong, and I don't think it can always be wrong. Absolutism is,
Hmm.
you can get in trouble with that. So
Yeah.
um, I I think it needs to cross into that border. I mean, it's like anything, right? And
Hmm.
you need to take action on what you're trying to do, at all points in time. So, yeah, I think if you're just thinking and you're not documenting and you're not putting it in a process and you're not trying to move that thing forward, um, thinking is just thinking, right? But at some point, I think you need to make that application. So, But there's also a point, and I'm kind of experiencing that right now, where you overthink something that you've already established. So if you do have a great system, if you do have that, and you're spending cycles and energy around overthinking things, and that I can absolutely see being, um, you know,
Yeah.
detrimental to that. So once you've got something, you got to learn to love the magic there, I think. So.
hmm I'll give you a little more context on it. The definitions of asset and liability that I'm leaning into are akin to how Robert Kiyosaki defines assets and liabilities. And most people are like, buying a car is an asset. It's like, no, constantly takes money out of your pocket. So to your wealth, a vehicle is a detractor. Therefore, it's a liability. Um, and so I looked at it in terms of time. So time, what what is an asset in terms of my time, attention, and energy, judgment, and decision making? What is a detractor in terms of my time, attention, and energy is thinking. And I made some other comments on there because like it's like James Fawcett, he had made a comment on there just like not arguing a counterpoint but like advocating for a counterpoint really. Um, and I was like, this is another example where I'm like, it's like playing chess. I love playing chess. But when I'm playing an opponent, we'll say like on the chess app, and it's like a minute long game or a 3 minute game, like I am making snap decisions and leveraging the opponent's clock to think. And I'm trying to not think on my time because if I think too much on my time, I could lose the game. Whether I had a better position than my opponent or not, like I could lose if I run out of time. So in the same sense, like with an AI race going on right now, everyone you're talking about I'm trying to build this Vision Labs platform. Like, who's to say that there's not 40 other people out in the world, like literally trying to build the exact same thing?
There are.
You know?
You're looking at the biggest agencies in the world are throwing billions of dollars at this stuff. So
Yes.
absolutely people are trying to do these things, right?
Yeah.
What they're not going to be able to replicate is what I've done over the last, 20 years. That's my moat around this. The platform, the tools, that stuff. But when we start talking about, well, how does he do his strategy and what does
Mhm.
his outputs look like and how does he string these things together and you
Okay.
know why is this unique to that? So there's a lot of that. I mean, the tools are tools. Tools are always going to be tools. But yeah, and I'm still not trying to take the human out of what I'm doing. Like this is a assisted. I'm not just charging you $30 a month and you get a platform and you just start using the platform to spit out social media posts, right? This is an assisted platform that we're still leveraging recurring revenue, as we go along with this. But it's just allowing us to scale, to take on more clients, to react faster, produce better work faster, right? So all of the tactical stuff on our side, but still try to use the things that we've put together over the last 15, 10 years or so, our special sauce, and apply it to the platform. So
I gotcha. So I'm
I, I
I
go
don't
back
want
to
to.
I just go back to context on your statement, right? That's what I'm saying because you're almost slightly arguing against yourself because your chess example is a great example. So you're thinking while you think could be a detriment if you spend too much time, but you're also now putting into place, a process and a procedure to make, on their side, to leverage their thinking against them, right? So it's kind of like by not thinking or thinking fast, you're actually creating a process to, force them into that. So I don't know. I think there's
Mm,
it's a weird thing for me, I think, but
it
um,
is.
I think it's
I
I think
just
it's
I have
I think
gotten
it's
to
sound.
this.
I think yeah.
You think what?
I think it's sound. I just,
Mm,
for me, it's really about overthinking or um, the amount of energy you're spending on something
yeah.
that, is it valuable to spend that time on that particular item, or have you baked it enough and you can move on to something and try to solve a different problem, right?
Yeah. I also, I mean, for me, the application here is, it's posture and position. Because like you take, there's this ideology that's being passed around right now about 10-80-10. 10 is like your ideation, creativity, and engagement into a specific problem. 80% of executing on that problem is driven by AI, and then 10% is like validation, um, like we'll say like production, like final production of the thing that AI created, um, and then like review and like ensuring quality and things like that, right? But like I want to be postured at the place where my judgment and decision making are the most effective uses of my time, and that I'm leveraging all of the thought process. If I've done the 10% at the beginning of something correctly, um, sorry if you can hear babies outside of my door. I don't
Dude,
know.
I don't hear it anymore. Like people are on planes, and I've been in that world, and I like kids, so I have
Yeah,
absolutely no
my
problems
11
hearing.
month old has just hit a high note. I don't know what they're doing out
I
there,
can hear it.
but
I can hear it. Doesn't faze me at
dude,
all. No. I love that. I just, it just, you've got a lot of life and a lot of cool experiences with that. I'm always jealous of people like, my wife's right now with my daughter, moving her out of college, right? So she'll be a
uh-huh.
senior next year in college, and it's like, oh my god, where does the time go? People will say that forever, but then you're moving your kid out of the dorms, so it goes
Oh
really
man.
fast, and enjoy every flipping minute of it. It's awesome. So
Uh yeah, I want to talk about kids too. But to finish my
yeah,
to finish
sorry.
my point, I want to be postured at the place where judgment and decision making are the most effective uses of my time, and that historically has not always been the case. As someone who has historically also been, at the managerial and implementer level or contributor level, um, now AI is doing a lot of that. It's planning, it's executing on the plan, it's delivering, deliverables, resources, just other stuff like that, product. So I that's kind of where my thought process
It's
is like
it's
the
interesting
evolution.
from it's
Go ahead.
interesting from your perspective because I was almost opposite, right? So I had senior leadership roles, and I usually had teams of people doing work. So a lot of what I would, visionary stuff that would go down to the teams, and they would work on those projects. Now it's the opposite, right? Now I can just, I have my agents that can do stuff for me, and I don't necessarily need to get into that next layer. So I can get ideas out very quickly and move them in. So perspective, I think, has a big piece of this, and then turn them into finalized stuff, or be like, hey, this is what I came up with, and then I give that to the team. So I'm almost, almost gives me a whole nother layer of, middle management, super creative people that I don't have in my business that I could say, now we can execute on this plan because we've baked it. So I can totally see from your perspective though, as an implementer, the
Yeah.
difference in that. So yeah,
Yeah, and
that's
I'd
it.
say that like
Yeah.
if it was, I mean, everything's red dot blue dot, right? Hello, check it out. Boom. Everything's red dot blue dot. And so what you're describing to me right now is where you're currently at with your process in producing outcomes and results for yourself and for your clients and, anyone else that you're producing for. You're, in my head, in the blue dot area. Like I'm not there yet, like building it for myself. But it's also, it's a such a cliche. It's a journey. It's a process. Like it literally just like I am in the process of building that blue dot for myself.
It
But
takes a
again,
long and it takes a long
yeah,
time to figure that out. And for me, it was like we just keep doing the same thing and we keep refining it and we keep tweaking small things. And now it's a thing. Like now I can't get away from it. And now it became my
and why would you?
platform. No,
Yeah.
it's just what's worked and what you know. Yeah. So yeah, I get it.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's a journey, but dude, I mean, a long time, 10
Yeah.
years doing the same thing. Like, you're I know you've been working on stuff, but how long have you been working on things now at this point, right? For yourself.
I jumped into doing stuff full time for myself July of last year. So August,
You're
September,
still in
October, November,
diapers,
December, January, February,
right?
March.
So like, yeah,
Nine
less than a
months.
year, less than a year.
My baby's not even born yet. Boom.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and so you have to give yourself some grace and time for that
Mhm.
as well, right? So I think that's
Yeah.
super important to be, and it's hard because it's hard watching the world and
Mhm.
everybody do stuff around you and the world that we're in for this. Like I said, my
Dude.
Instagram phobia of all these people creating all this kick-ass stuff, and you're like, I'm so behind. I'm gonna lose. I'm never gonna catch this wave, and
Yeah.
but it's just not true.
Literally.
I just
Oh,
don't
dude.
think. I don't think people are selling and shipping half the stuff that they do. It's all slop,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
all wrappers. It's all slop. Not all of it, of course. There's some great stuff out there, but um, I also think the platforms change too damn fast to like go all in on this stuff. I mean, every 3 days there's huge announcements, brand new models. It's just absolutely insane to
I want to
stay up.
know what flavor of cocaine they're feeding the Claude developers. Like,
Chat, I mean, Chat GPT, OpenAI guys too. I mean, just last week they're just. I
yeah.
mean, the image stuff inside just this week, I took something I did and I literally like make a one-page flyer out of this. Just in the same chat I was having it write stuff, boom, full one-page flyer. I'm like, this doesn't look horrible. I'm going to send it off to somebody I'm working with. And they're like, is this someone else's stuff? What is this? I'm like, no, I just spit this out as an idea. And they were like, this is really cool. So, I mean, chat used to be garbage, no text. This is nailed every single word. There was no errors. I was just like, oh God. And this is the worst it's ever going to be. I mean, a year from
Hmm.
now, you know, and there are roles, graphic designers, right? Unless you start mastering AI, there's going to be roles that, a graphic designer with strong AI chops is going to replace the run of the mill graphic designer, right? Somebody that's not embraced it. So you
Yeah.
still need to account for taste and all that, but there's a lot of roles like that are in trouble, I think, because you just look at these platforms, you're like, it can spit out a flyer that, you know, I wouldn't necessarily be happy shipping to a client, but 99% of the clients would be absolutely thrilled with the output from that thing. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, I have a marketing brain developed for a client, and there was well, it runs it's Claude code, right? So it's lives and breathes markdown files. But I took the same markdown file and asked Cowork for a branded PDF on it to be able to distribute to team members. So it's for internal use. It's not going to go out to any customers or anything like that, but for team members to be able to ingest it, leverage the information quickly, like it it did a really freaking stellar job. Um, and it's all correct. So I was like,
Yeah,
great. Now
there you go.
you guys run,
You know how
right?
long
So
that stuff? I used to think of how much time I spent making decks, weeks, making a pitch deck. Now it's you don't even think about it. You're just like, here's the
see,
content, right?
see that right
Just
there.
yeah,
Don't think about it because the thinking is a liability. It
yes.
detracts from the time, attention. And see, do you get the post now?
So there's
No, I'm just kidding.
there's pieces of it because you do have to do the work up front, but there's pieces of it where you absolutely don't think anymore. So I agree.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it strips a lot of it out of it, right? And
Hmm.
allows you to focus on different things. So
Yeah.
allows you to focus way more on strategy and, way more on the fundamentals.
I think
Um,
you and James Fawcett were essentially saying the same thing. Like,
yeah.
we still have to think on a level of intuitiveness while it's mid process, especially when experiencing paradigm shift. I get thinking on tasks that can be automated or pragmatically completed. So yeah, he literally, I think you
Same
guys are
thing.
saying essentially the same thing. Yeah.
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 Maybe I should take a note.
I think it's no longer wasting energy on thinking tasks, right? Or
Yeah.
like yeah, it's an energy issue, right? What you're spending time on. I used to think I'd be in the shower thinking about a deck that I've got to create by the end of the week, right? And you're like mentally putting it together, and like you just don't do that anymore. You're like, I
Hmm.
need a deck that does this, and these are the kinds of slides I need, and boop, press a button, boop, export to Google Slides, boop,
So
send a PDF
while
to
you're in your
client.
shower, you just pull out Claude Code really quick and just yeah. I was kidding.
Not there. I'm not there yet, but I still put the deck together in my head mentally. So that's the way and I wait to the very last second to deliver it. So that's kind of what I do. But people are
Yeah.
like, "Are you working on that deck?" I'm like, "Well, define work, right? Mentally, yes. Physically, no."
Yeah.
But yeah,
So then I really don't want to get into, even though I have questions about it. I'm fascinated at the how, but I don't want that published for you. Like I
yeah.
absolutely don't want that going out into the world until you're ready. But in terms of like as a potential user
Hmm.
of your platform, what does my new reality look like if I'm using it?
Yeah. So I mean, we're targeting companies that generally don't have a marketing team or have like a single person, right? So there's so many companies out there that typically just, and with that, they're tactics based. So somebody in marketing may do, chamber of commerce meetings and social media posts, and the extent of their marketing job may be pretty limited to that. Um,
Hmm.
they've never had a strategy, a marketing strategy put in place. A soup to nuts. What does April look like versus June, and what are we activating, and what are we trying to accomplish, and what does all of that look like? Um, so really what we do is we first come in and we set that strategy, right? So we learn about your business, we learn about your competitors, right? This is all the AI doing a ton of research on all of the back end, on your industry, on pain points, and puts together what it looks like, what does your modern world look like, from that. And we leverage that kind of, I'm calling it brand DNA, but that story that gets built, and then we layer on the strategy, right? So what are you trying to accomplish? Do you need more customers? Do you need more visibility? Do we need to run ads? Do we need to do, more stuff in LinkedIn? Who's your customer? So it's a wide variety of kind of services and things that get applied, or tactics that get applied to it. So, but the simple answer to your question is that business owner now has a really clear understanding what their marketing is doing, right? And what the strategy for marketing is. And every month they can come in and be like, okay, did we accomplish what we set off to accomplish this month? Did we do the things we were supposed to do? And they feel really comfortable about marketing. You can pretty much go ask anybody and be like, what do you think about marketing? They're like, I know I need it. I'm paying
Yeah.
somebody, or I'm paying an agency a lot of
Yep.
money.
But I don't know if it's working or not,
I have
right?
no idea if it's working. Does it feel strategic, or does it just feel like they're doing 4 blog posts because that's what the contract says? And it's always that, right? It's always,
Yeah.
you read contracts are all tactic driven. Very rarely will you see, I'm calling it a vision board. But today it's my roadmap, right? So this is
Yeah. Yeah.
a spreadsheet we create that's a gazillion miles long with all of our swim lanes in it and all the things that we do, um, month by month. But now that's all going to be kind of pushed into AI and driven by AI, and
Hmm.
but then it's going to update, and it's going to take a look at the results, and it's going to tweak next month's tactics, and it'll all be driven by you know by the AI, by the engine, and
I
what's
think that
actually
was
happening.
one fun thing that having an AI brain helped accomplish for one of my clients was that we looked at like generated an entire report on the Q1 performance this year
Oh,
and
I love it.
went back and like looked at everything and it was like, oh, when you did this type of activation for direct to consumer, it was the most effective. And you started up a new channel on B2B sales, and it's a self replenishing pipeline. So if this is now a channel, then you need to shift this on its head because it was a distribution of 66% to 33 of direct to consumer versus business to business sales, and it was like you essentially need to flip that on its head. And so in Q2, what you should be launching is like new campaigns all centered around B2B, still continuing to do all this direct to consumer line, all this, like let that continue to run. And then I was like, this is so cool. It's like, it's driving strategy for me.
Yep. On it just finds stuff that you know you may have uncovered, but it just hits you and it's instant. Again, it's just
Yeah.
here it is.
Yeah.
Give me
Yeah.
the good, give me the bad. Give me the story. We just feed it the data. We hook it up to Google Analytics. You can just follow this stuff, right? And everything has now got APIs, and it's pretty awesome. The
Yeah.
flow of data that's just available to connect everything. But yeah, I love the reports, the analytics. I mean, we're talking to a new potential client right now, and I've got his. I'm digging into all of his information. I'm just going to grab all of that and be like, let's see what your current marketing team's been doing over the last 3 years, and I can literally just tell the story, right? And just be like, here's where you've won, here's where you've lost. We haven't seen growth in 3 years or whatever it is. I don't know yet, but um, it'll just tell the story. It's just data
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So love it.
Yeah. So good. So we're about at time here. I've got a couple of other stuff going on this afternoon. Otherwise, I feel like we would literally keep
We could talk forever.
I mean, we would literally keep rapping on this stuff.
Yep.
But Josh, where's you know what? I didn't even ask you. What's the brand name for your agency?
My current brand is Suncoast Interactive.
Suncoast
So
Interactive. That's right.
yeah, and I'm focusing primarily on local brands here, so it makes sense for local brands. But
Hmm.
I need to do something a little bit more tech when we got into the AI stuff. So Vision Labs will be that. It's less. I was told once by someone in New York that it's too Florida man of a brand. And that hit me kind of hard. I'm like, Florida man, okay, so I can't really use Suncoast Interactive very judiciously here. So we're gonna go with Vision Labs moving forward. So, and that'll be
Yeah.
July. I'll launch that in July officially. I got to
Okay.
do the
Awesome.
website. Platform's built, but I have to just do all the branding and all the fun stuff on the other side. So,
So if someone wanted to get connected with you, and or if someone wanted to kind of like follow along and kind of get the news and updates on the progress of your new tool, how could they do either one of those?
I absolutely wish I did more of that. I mean, email. I might as well be 95 years old here telling them that I don't really do much on social. Like I said, LinkedIn, but I don't really post much there. So LinkedIn's a great way to reach out to me. Um, and Josh at suncoastinteractive.com is another great way to get a hold of me for that. So, but
Yeah.
maybe this will inspire me to do some building the brand here now that I've got give or take a couple of months, 3 months here to 2 months to pull it together. Maybe I'll do some behind the scenes
Will you
stuff with.
just be surprised at just like it's not even like a significant amount, but there's always like a handful of people that will listen in and they just have questions or they probably heard everything that we just talked about and they're like, holy crap, do I need that? Because boy, do I not know or understand or feel like I have a proper marketing department. Like, you know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
it's
So
it's an easy. I mean, I go to trade shows. It's an easy conversation where you're just. I mean, the the ICP is really easy to nail. So you're gonna be like, oh yeah, my dad owns a company that sells extended warranties or something, and like we don't have a marketing team, and we need to do something, right? So these
Yeah.
these these interesting niches that are out there that people are, but yeah, no, for sure. And I've got a great community on LinkedIn just built over the years. So I'm all of
Okay.
the companies I
I
had.
like
So
that.
but yeah,
So
that's great.
link.
LinkedIn's probably the best way to connect with me. So
Okay. Awesome. So is it linkedin.com/Josh Murack
it's
or
Joshua Murack.
Joshua Murack? Okay. Gotcha. All
You're
right,
gonna
everyone.
if you Google me, you'll find that more than likely. I hope that's
Okay.
all. Kidding. All good. All good. No, no.
You got a long 20-year history, right? So
That's
it could
right. That's right.
anything
There's a
could be
lot.
on there.
There's a lot of. I'm not that
So funny.
interesting, so yeah, it's a pretty quiet feed. So
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay, well, man, thanks so much for jumping on the line and hanging out with me and having, really cool discussions like this. I super appreciate it. I'm glad you're going out and building solutions like this for people. It is so very much needed. Um, and yeah, man, if anyone wants to go get connected with Josh, like, go get him on LinkedIn. And then if you have questions for him, Josh at suncoastinteractive.com. I'll be the best place for you to get your questions answered. And yeah, thanks so much, Josh.
all right, appreciate it. Thanks, Jimmy.
I'll catch you guys on the next episode. See ya.